ESPN. It's the TNT Monster Truck Challenge from Roanoke, Virginia. It features 1989 world champion, the Equalizer, and a tumbling act by 1988 champ, USA 1. At the Civic Center in Roanoke, Virginia, with the superstars of monster truck racing. There's Steve Wilkie heading to his USA 1 truck. It's ESPN's coverage of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. You see Steve Wilkie, the familiar USA 1 signal that kind of just permeates through the team. Everett Jasmer expects that from his drivers, that air, that cockiness, that confidence. And in a minute, you'll see something else that seems to carry through the USA 1 line of drivers. But we'll get to that at the end of qualifying. Let's look at highlights from the qualifying round in Roanoke. The '89 world champion Equalizer coming back from a crash at the end of the previous night's competition against the Gravedigger. Now he'll go up side by side against Clydesdale. We're looking at qualifying. This is not elimination racing, but again, everybody's trying to lay down the best shot they can to see where they fit into the scheme of things on today's bracket. And Clydesdale would love to know just how close he can stay to the Equalizer here in the qualifying round. Bennett Clark out of Powder Springs, Georgia, you can see not quite able to keep up with the defending world champion, David Morris, and the Equalizer. Despite the wreck one night earlier, David Morris is the fast qualifier this night of racing in Roanoke in the Equalizer. That Gary Cook prepared truck just continues to go fast, faster, fastest. More qualifying actions. We look at the Buffalo Tremor out of Buffalo, New York. Left of the screen, the Dodge Mopar Magic, Gary Wiggins from Williamston, North Carolina, closest to you. They're laying down shots again to see where they will fit in as they drop the bracket for first round side-by-side elimination at Roanoke, Virginia. There you see, whoa, Gary Wiggins actually almost leaves the track and shears off the finish line pole. Watch it again as Wiggins gets way wild at the end of the course. And there it is, bang! A little repair job for the TNT officials now in order. Gary Porter brings the Carolina Crusher out. He's on the left of the screen, and he'll qualify side by side with the Thunder Chicken, Kid Rarig's truck from Catawissa, Pennsylvania. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher, runner-up the Equalizer in the 1989 World Championship standings. Boy, look at the Crusher soar. You know what's amazing so far in 1990 is that Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher has remained competitive. That truck is really a dinosaur. Crusher is building a new truck that'll be ready very soon. But with the old one, he still shows the Carolina Crusher awfully good as it is. Next out, USA 1 and Whiskey Business. Whiskey Business is Ken Deppy, the rookie driver from Jefferson City, Missouri. It's the Bream Boys truck out of Missouri. USA 1, watch Steve Wilkie, a wild run. And there it is, Wilkie flips USA 1 on a qualifying shot. How many times have we seen that before with a different driver? Rod Litzow won the 1988 World Championship last year and trying to defend the title in USA 1. Litzow flipped that truck 6 or 7 times. The new driver, Steve Wilkie, had been much more conservative in learning to drive the truck. Every week he's gotten better. He's gotten more aggressive, and here he goes over and look at him. He says, hey, I went over giving it everything I've got, and they love it in Roanoke, Virginia. Steve Wilkie goes head over heels in Roanoke, Virginia, reminiscent of Rod Litzow's wild runs in the USA 1 truck. Ken Deppy says, okay, big guy, and Wilkie's got a big wave for the crowd. Wow. Steve Wilkie in USA 1 on his roof in Roanoke, Virginia. And a lot of guys just patting him on the back saying, hey, you all right? Let's watch it again. What happens to Wilkie is when he buries the nose and it gets locked up, he's not able to throttle out in time. And it stands straight up and over she goes. USA 1 and Everett Jasmer just got to be cringing. As many repairs as he and the crew have had to make to that truck over the past 2.5 years of running for world championships. And here's another big job ahead of him as Steve Wilkie joins the Upside Down Club in TNT Monster Truck Racing. He flips her. Now they'll bring the front end loader because you can't just push this thing back over on its wheels. And they'll pull it over and look at the damage. The tailgate barely hanging on. The roof crushed in. Luckily, Wilkie uninjured, as you can see how far down the roof was impacted by this flip in Roanoke. Wilkie looks no worse for wear. We're going to get a word with him, though, to see exactly what the USA 1 driver thinks of his rollover in Roanoke. Now, I think Wilkie's been on his roof before, but I don't think he's ever done it in racing competition. One more replay. Right side of your screen. And you can just see he buries the nose, and that's it, man. Once he buried that nose, there was no saving USA 1. Over it went. Wilkie standing by to talk with Army Armstrong.
Bring your ticket stuff down, and we'll make you an
Steve, first of all, are you okay?
I'm fine.
I can't think of anything you could have done different. I know you're kind of down on yourself right now. Nothing to be ashamed of. I have no idea what you could have done to get out of that mess.
I got to look at the videotape, Army. I don't know. The possibility I was on the brake. You know as well as anybody, it's a no-no.
You've got a high center of gravity in that truck. When it bounced higher than we've seen, in a long time. But you join a unique fraternity right now, the brotherhood of the guys that get on their head. I'm glad you're okay. I'm sorry it had to happen, but I know you and Everett Jasmer and the True Value people will regroup and come back after this thing.
Oh, you bet. Everett Jasmer has been in the business a long time. He understands. It's still tough to make the phone call, Army, as you know. But I think he started a couple weeks ago. They asked me when I started driving like Rod Litzow. People, that's how Rod Litzow drives. That's going fast. But I don't plan to do that much more. True Value Chevrolet, TNT, everybody, ESPN, all the people who promote these products and events, they all deserve a hand of credit. That's great.
We're glad to have you with us. We'll see you later. Thanks a lot for coming down.
Thanks.
Steve Wilkie still throwing that #1 sign up in the air, but USA 1 won't be #1 tonight. However, I'll tell you, for a lot of people in Roanoke, that's the #1 thing they're going to remember. We still got a whole night's worth of racing to come. It's the first round coming up, and one more time, over she goes. USA 1 on its roof in Roanoke. Eliminated a single truck in Roanoke, Virginia. The crowd is buzzing over the qualifying shot of USA 1 where Steve Wilkie flipped the truck. But now it's time to get serious in side-by-side racing and see who will be around at the end of the night to claim the victory. Boy, you're getting a good look right there at the damage sustained by David Morris's equalizer. During his last race with Gravedigger, the digger veered off course and smacked right into equalizer. The truck, no worse for wear, though, is ready to go side by side with John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Trimmer. Look out! At the end, the equalizer collapses. The front end of the equalizer literally broke in two. It just collapsed on David Morris at the end of a victorious run. Wow, what a wild shot. Look at it again. Watch here. First the hard bounce on the cars, and then it all goes away. The equalizer is broken.
David, do you have any idea what happened on that run?
I'm not sure. Gary says I've been landing with the brakes on, but I don't think I have. We got a brake caliper dragging on the back, so we'll just have to get out and see what's happening with it.
Now, this is the same suspension problem, or not the same problem, but you had problems with the suspension last week. Could this be a result of just how tough it is on these suspensions?
No, I think what the problem is, the A-frame underneath is out of just a little bit too light of material, and it folded it up just then.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
The equalizer certainly has gotten an advantage out of being lighter than some other trucks. Right there, David Morris is claiming that lighter material cost him bad. Let's ask Gary Cook, the owner of the truck, about what happened.
Well, we've had an opportunity to talk to the driver also. We just talked to Ray a minute ago. He said you guys are going to try to get this thing back together for next week.
Yeah, we'll be together for next week.
Do you have any idea what caused it to let go like that? You're the guy that designed this, and everybody's looking at it, but it just seemed like the front end collapsed on it. What caused that?
Probably some damage left over from last night that we didn't catch today when him and Gravedigger tied up.
You doing okay? You look like you're about to have a heart attack out here. You're working awful hard.
Well, it's just a lot of disappointment 2 nights in a row.
You know, they say once you're on top, there's only one way to go. In 1989, the Equalizer sat atop the world, the best in the business, the TNT World Champion. Trying to defend that title in 1990. He's still been having a great year, but right now all Gary Cook and his crew can see is a bunch of work trying to repair this truck and trying to get it back together and not fall too far behind in the point standing. Coming into tonight's action, Equalizer actually leads the World Points Championship. But can he hold on with everybody else gaining points? He's out of it. Stick a fork in that truck. It's done for tonight here on ESPN. All right, Mopar Magic. Gary Wiggins come out against Clydesdale and Bennett Clark. A couple of Southern trucks. Mopar out of North Carolina. Clydesdale out of Powder Springs, Georgia. First round action in Roanoke, Virginia. What can you believe? It's just first round action, as much as we've already seen here on this edition of ESPN's TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Look at this. I don't know if it's the fountain of youth, but the Mopar Magic just started spraying some kind of fluid. It looked like water everywhere. Well, I don't know if they left the hose on the truck in the back or what, but water just started spraying out the back of the truck, and Bennett Clark's not going to get many easier victories than that in the Clydesdale. One more time, Mopar just spouting water, never gets off the line, and Bennett Clark an easy winner moving into the quarterfinal. Well, it's homecoming week for the Gravedigger in Roanoke, Virginia. He squares off now with Kid Rarig and the Thunder Chicken. Now the Digger broke a rear axle in qualifying, so he has only front-wheel drive, and you can see he's not getting off the line. The Thunder Chicken is an easy winner, and Kid Rarig records a victory over Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger. Boy, you can see without that rear-wheel drive that Dennis Anderson is just scratching in the sand, but he can't pull that truck fast enough with only the front wheels. The Chicken moves on, and the Digger is done. More quarterfinal round action coming up next here on ESPN. It's the Major League in Monster Truck Racing, the TNT Monster Truck Challenge, as Johnny K. John Kwasniewski brings that Chevy out of Buffalo, New York, a relative newcomer to the TNT Tour. He ran for the most of last year and now battling for the World Championship full-time in 1990. But he's racing one of the original monster trucks in TNT action out of Jefferson City, Missouri, one of the Breen Boys racing toys. I'm talking about the Mad Dog Chevrolet. Bobby Breen ready to go at it with the Tremor. Give the win to the Buffalo Tremor. Despite some problems, it appears Buffalo Tremor broke the rear drive shaft as they look at the undercarriage. Nonetheless, he got the victory by a half of a truck length over the Mad Dog.
Johnny, we're going to hang on to you for just a second. Looks like a rear drive shaft went away.
Yeah, we lost universal on that run. We have to get it back out there. I think we can get it fixed.
You are going to make it to the next round?
Yeah, we will. We just have to hustle.
Get back in the pits. We'll see you then.
Right, thank you, Army.
So it'll be quick work for the Buffalo Tremor as John Kwasniewski and the gang try and get it put back together. Here's Whiskey Business, the other Breen Boys truck here in Roanoke, Virginia. This is a GMC driven by rookie Ken Deppy, again out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Whiskey Business has himself a man-sized task here in the quarterfinals, taking on the bad boy from Texas, Steve Kane, and the awesome Kong Chevrolet. Quarterfinal round action as they pull it to the start line in Roanoke, Virginia. Both drivers will tighten up now and watch for that green light to lay down the quarterfinal round shot. Ready to go, Kong and Whiskey Business. Awesome Kong as Ken Deppy gets a real wild and rough bounce at the end of the run for Whiskey Business. Awesome Kong will move to the semifinals. Watch the bounce at the end of the cars by Whiskey Business. Man, that's a hard lick. And then he hits it hard again. Gets on the brakes, but does not get any air. And he saves the truck nicely. Clydesdale, Bennett Clark, Powder Springs, Georgia driver, will square off with the Thunder Chicken. Now, both of these drivers have very consistent trucks that tend to stay together. That's very key a lot of times in racing, and one of these guys is about to go to the semifinals. The Pennsylvania truck is the Chicken, the Georgia truck the Clydesdale. And the win goes to the good old boy from Powder Springs, Georgia, Bennett Clark and the Clydesdale Chevrolet. Here they come right at you. A good, smooth, strong run for the longest wheelbase on the tour, Bennett Clark's Clydesdale. All right, it's Wild Hair, Marvin Smith, the old Stomper truck, trying to knock off the Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter. But not today for Wild Hair. Look at all the air Crusher gets, but it's victorious air as Gary Porter, an easy winner over an obviously busted Wild Hair. Marvin Smith never hits the cars with any kind of momentum, and it's an easy win for Carolina Crusher. Marvin Smith trying to get it back together for 1990. A good-looking truck, but it needs some work under the hood. In the meantime, Gary Porter just rolls on in the Carolina Crusher. Army Armstrong standing by with him.
Gary Porter, it's about like you like it. The odds are 4-1. This is you.
I hope it is. I've been due for a win for a while, and I hope I can take it tonight.
You're taking a real weird bounce, and it looks like to me you're almost going to get into the wall because you've got to throttle that truck as soon as you hit to keep it on the ground, don't you?
It is. I've been lining up to the right of the lane, and this time I went a little bit further to the right, and I think I went a little bit too far, and I'll be bringing it back to the left a little bit.
Coming up next, Buffalo Trevor and Carolina Crusher. Awesome Kong against Clydesdale. It's the Final Four. The semifinals from Roanoke are next here on ESPN's TNT Monster Truck Challenge. It's time for the semifinal round of competition on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm Scott Douglas along with Army Armstrong, Chris Chapman, and our entire ESPN crew bringing you the great action as we head to the semifinals. John Kwasniewski's Buffalo Tremor, lots of horsepower, big engine against the Carolina Crusher, and the most consistent truck in 1989 and a truck that again in 1990 is holding together and running strong, the Carolina Crusher. Gary Porter getting way up there again, but having all that air underneath did not hurt the Crusher. At least it didn't hold him out of the victory there as Carolina Crusher defeats the Buffalo Tremor. You can see how high Porter is getting, but it's not mattering because Gary continues to win. He'll make it to the Monster Smash Final, where he'll meet either Awesome Kong or Clydesdale. Boy, look how high Porter is getting, and it's not costing them a bit. That's the surprise, because obviously you're faster making contact than you are up in the air. There's the Awesome Kong truck out of Texas. Steve Kane, Killeen, Texas. His opponents from Powder Springs, Georgia. Bennett Clark and the Clydesdale Chevrolet. The winner meets Carolina Crusher in the Monster Smash Final. Both of these guys top 10 in points, wanting a big, big victory here to try and take a big step toward a possible world title. It's Kong and Clydesdale. Awesome Kong. So a dandy duel is shaping up in the Monster Smash Final. It'll be Awesome Kong against Carolina Crusher. Once again, Kong gets the win. Steve Kane will move out to take on Gary Porter in the Monster Smash Final. Army's going to spend a little time with Gary Porter talking about his opponent, Steve Kane and Awesome Kong. The Carolina Crusher driver knows he's in the final, but it'll be a tough one.
Real quick, Gary Porter is down to 2, and you're right in the middle of this thing.
Well, luck's been with me tonight. I hope I can take the win. The truck's been really running good tonight, and the right lane, I think I have it down pat, so I hope to take the win.
Nobody else tonight is driving the way you are. Nobody is skying. You're literally just jumping through the finish line, aren't you?
It is. The truck's getting an awful lot of air after I shift a second. You know, I just hold the motor to the floor and just let the truck do the rest, and it's getting a lot of air off of the ramp.
This kid out of Texas, Awesome Kong, teamed up with Jerry Jenkins, making a whole lot of horsepower. Can you get past him?
I think I can. You know, I got a lot of people backing me, and I think I can take the win.
Gary Porter, the very popular driver of the Carolina Crusher, getting ready to take on Steve Kane's Awesome Kong. It's the Monster Smash Final, and it's up next on ESPN. And they're rocking and rolling in Roanoke, Virginia. And as they do everywhere along the TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit, the whole house is standing for the Monster Smash Final to see Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher hook up wheel to wheel with Steve Kane's Awesome Kong. Porter, of course, out of North Carolina. He'll take on the Texas truck, Awesome Kong. It's a battle of Chevrolets in the Monster Smash. And boy, this has really been a wild, wild event in Roanoke, Virginia. And the fans are going to see a dandy to cap it off. A quick recap of our action here on ESPN. In case you missed it from the top, USA 1 flipped in qualifying. A wild run for Steve Wilkie as USA 1 landed on its top. Equalizer. Looked like he was going to be the truck to beat. But then the front end literally snapped in two at the end of the run. So defending world champion out of it for the night as the whole front end of the truck broken down. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher has been skying. The ramp has been shooting him straight up, but he's been getting enough horsepower and momentum to carry him to victory after victory, despite something that normally works against you. That's a lot of air under the truck. And all along, Awesome Kong has been a key player, just consistently putting away one opponent after another. They're head-to-head in the Monster Smash Final, Carolina Crusher and Awesome Kong. Showtime! This time, no air, and Carolina Crusher keeps the nose to the grindstone, keeps the wheels to the cars, and he puts away Awesome Kong. Again, I gotta point out that he is really driving, in terms of the state of the art, a dinosaur. The old Carolina Crusher truck that served him so well a year ago was supposed to be obsolete. Crusher supposedly just hanging on until his new truck's ready. But what does he do? He gets a big, big victory as far as the TNT Monster Truck World Point standings go. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher getting the victory as the fans in Roanoke love it. Roanoke, Virginia, kind of adopting Gary Porter here today as the Carolina boy gets the win over the man from Texas.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Gary Porter, congratulations, boy. It was a super night, but you had to flat earn it, didn't you?
I did. The competition is so stiff running with TNT. I mean, a win, every win is just like the first one. I'm always proud to get it and think I deserve it.
How about this kid from Texas? He's tough to sit down with at the table, isn't he?
He is. That's the hardest. I drove the truck all night, and when it come up on the front wheels, I was worried there for a second. I thought it might go on over the end, but I just kept, the power to it and didn't hit the brakes.
Were you aware that he was running 0.2 of a second quicker than you all night long? Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of it. I knew that I was turning some, not really that good of times, but I didn't know the times he was turning at all.
Okay, we're going to bring him in right now real quick. Steve, congratulations. A beautiful run.
Thank you.
Nose down. It looked like you guys were getting down in dirt. It looked like interior linemen. Both of you just kind of got your nose down and went after this thing. He goes across the line first.
Yeah, when you run Carolina Crush, you got to have all your cookies in one bag. You got to go out there and just everything's got to be perfect.
Tell you what, you've done a fine job. These people from Texas got to be awfully proud of you. We'll be looking forward to following you and you getting your first win on this tour this year.
Thank you.
He said it had to be perfect to beat Carolina Crusher. It was close, but not quite perfect. And the Crusher puts away Awesome Kong. Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, gets the big victory on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge circuit in Roanoke, Virginia. So this week, shining the brightest of all the superstars, Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher. That'll do it for this edition of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Stick with us and be sure to follow the TNT event live in the arena when they come to your town. For Chris Chapman and Army Armstrong, I'm Scott Douglas. We'll be looking for you again with the TNT Monster Truck Challenge, the Major League, here on ESPN.